Hello, hello, it's Kevin here. Are you stuck at Band 6 for IELTS writing? Wondering why you can't seem to get 6.5 or even 7 or 7.5? Well, if you've seen my previous two podcast episodes about students getting stuck at Band 6 in speaking, there's a couple of similarities and some other things here which we'll take a look at to see how you can get past Band 6 and get at least 6.5. Okay, so I've got some, one particular student out of many of my new students from China on italki sent me some of their writings, and there's some similarities as to why they all get a 6. That's what this video is going to be talking about. So get your pen, get your paper out. There's going to be some examples, some of my samples to explain the points. So let's get straight in. Hello, it's Kevin here. Time for a video. Now, this might be a lengthy one. Now, if you've been following my podcast, the EnglishNative.com, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the latest episodes on here as well. The last two podcasts I was talking about IELTS, in particular students from China and why they keep getting 6. There's various reasons why. I won't go into it. Again, you can watch if you're watching on YouTube, or you can listen to the podcast. But I've got quite a few new Chinese students again this week talking about the writing, and again they're getting 6, 666, 5.5, 5.5, 666, the number of a beast or whatever. But I'm going to make a podcast about that when I've got time this week. As I say, I'm pretty busy. I'm virtually booked out every single day now, which is good in terms of making cash, but not so good in terms of being able to make content or do anything else. Anyway, so we're going to have a look at these. Now, I've got some samples that I wrote for some. I don't have a sample for both of the essays though, but I do have a sample for one of the essays, I think, and also for these two writing task ones. So first, I'll get the changes on this because there's going to be quite a lot of changes here. So, right, I'll show you mine first, and then we'll take a look at theirs. So, the bar chart shows surveyed information. I'm not going to get the Cambridge books out and show you pictures. You know, you can find them for yourself. This is Cambridge 15, test number 1. So you can find it for yourself. So bar chart shows surveyed information related to coffee and tea drinking habits, 5 cities over the previous 4 weeks. Overview, overall perspective, drinking tea or coffee in a cafe, preferred choice, half a population, all cities, with one exception. Purchase of instant coffee, less popular. Buying fresh coffee was in journal at the bottom of the list. So, in terms of the overview, you're just looking at the key trends and features, right? No need to put any details in. So, restate the topic, key trends, features. Now, breaking it down. Now, I broke it down here. I put the fresh coffee because that's the smallest. So, start with the biggest. Right? Start with the biggest, work your way down. That seems a logical organization of your information. So I'm not going to read it all out. You can read it for yourself. Going to cafe, Sydney, followed by Brisbane, instant coffee, buying fresh coffee. Okay, right, so you can pause and you can take a look at this. So let me get that off. So now, the consequences. The consequences? You mean the results, not the same thing. Consequences, results of a survey about individual coffee and tea drinking habits in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, and Hobart over a 4-week period. Yeah, so mention that over 4 weeks. Now we need an overview. It can be seen that so take the overall, right, can you see people going tour cafe instead of purchasing fresh coffee. 5 countries, it's not countries, is it? The cities. The 5 cities, because we know what cities we're talking about. Instant coffee, slight preference in Adelaide. Few people want to choose fresh coffee, so that's not too bad. Right, the percentage of choosing a cafe for coffee or tea, 6%. Melbourne and Hobart. I don't know why this is spelled wrong. Brisbane. Well, last project was the same. Last residents of coffee in cafe. A cafe article says respective last 4 weeks and coffee roughly equal. Last 4 weeks. Well, it can't be it, can it? It must be was. Proportion of going to the proportion of people going to a cafe. Coffee generally was generally between 50%. 50%. There were less residents who were fascinated. Well, that's not the right word, is it? Attracted to, maybe. 5 cities, not countries. So you can see, right, there's so many errors, and this is just in the first writing task. Okay, right. So we can see there's plenty of stuff there to have a look at. I think I've got a sample for this one. Yeah. I do. This is from Cambridge 18, test number 1. Again, I can't be bothered. You can go and find it. Actually, if you search through my channel, you will find a video for all these. So the graph illustrates the change of people, Asian percentages in cities for Asian countries with projected figures for 2030, 2040. Overview, countries will increase, or for countries expected to continue. Malaysia is the largest, so pretty straightforward, right? The overall trend is upwards, forecast into the future, and Malaysia is the biggest. And then figures and data from 1970 to 2020, and then from 2030 to, was it 2040? Yeah, so from the past to the present and into the future. That seems a good way to break the information down. Okay, again, I'll pause it. I've got a video on the channel where I explain this in detail. You can look for your own picture. Cambridge 18 test 1. Okay. So, line graph compares the proportion spenders in 2040. Okay, that's it. Now that intro and overview is good. I would break it up, but you don't have to. So that's that intro and overview is good. Initially, at 40%, which have approximately formation. 40% of what? Accounted for about 14% of what? Urban population of formation is surpassed by 2010 respectively. Figure surge. Right. This is a jumble. There's no logical organization here. So Indonesia, lowest proportion, but surpassed Philippines and Thailand. What's the figures? What's the data? So 40% at the start, what you mean in 1970. But it surpassed by what? What's the figures exactly? The figure surged, and it is projected by 2040, Philippines with 2070, although it rose. Certainly in Malaysia exceeded it after 1990, which is forecast. Right. So, which is forecast. This is a bit of a jumble, right? If you wind it back check out the one that I did, you can see how a more logical organization of information actually works. Okay, so no more comments about that one. Now, I think I've got a sample for this. Paying for printed material, yeah? I think this is the topic. In the future, I'm going to print newspapers or books. Anything we want without paying. I'll put that. Where are we? I'll put that there so we can see it, and we'll have a quick look at mine. Okay. In the future, no one will buy print media available for free. In my view, there'll always be somebody who will buy it. I'm going to explain why. Because some people just like how it feels. They like paper. They like to have a real book in their hands. They like to have a real newspaper. Additionally, they're collectible. You go to a library, somebody's always going to buy a paper copy. Okay, so I disagree. Okay, but you could agree, but I just found it easier here to disagree because some people just like that real paper, and it's collectible, going into the libraries, etc. Okay, so again, I'll just pause that and you can have a look at it. Okay, so let me close off that one. Now, right. Right. Nothing to do with the topic. That's the first thing. Why do you believe that the tendency for the quality of life? Okay. What's that got to do with the topic? Nothing. It provides more well-paid job opportunities, which raises the income level of society. Nothing to do with the topic. Examiners waiting for you to tell us why or why not people are going to buy books or not. Right, reasonable people who believe they will acquire knowledge through the internet. Not the same thing. Right? Right. That it doesn't say that. You don't have to read on the internet. You can get an electronic book. Yeah? Printed newspapers or books. You can read newspapers online. Yeah. But books, usually it's e-books. You download them as PDFs or whatever. Acquire knowledge through the internet without paying. That's not strictly what it says. So you need to be careful there. When faced with this issue, who says it's an issue? It's not an issue. I partially believe, I partially agree with this viewpoint. You partially agree that nobody will purchase printed books. Okay. So, nothing to do with the topic. And then it can motivate employees to produce more and more high quality reading materials, cyber citizens. Yeah, but again, nobody is going to buy it because they can read it for free. So, do you agree with that or not? So, right, that basically has nothing to do with the topic. The topic is, do you think people are going to not buy printed stuff in the future because they can read it online or they can download it for free, etc. Right? That's it. So you're talking about technology, employees, producers can not only obtain but promote cross-regional exchanges, which can. What's that got to do with? Do you agree or disagree? In the future, not now, in the future, right? Nobody is going to buy anything printed. That's what it's talking about. Yeah. So what you've written there, nothing to do with the topic. If you stop, pause, scroll back to mine, I specifically say, I disagree because people will always, in the future, want real paper in their hands. Yeah? So this here, nothing to do with the topic. Okay. The majority of social media companies are profit driven. They need to maintain the normal operation of corporations. What's that got to do with anybody buying real papery things or not? Why there are various fabricated and exaggerated what's this got to do with the topic? So it's got nothing, right, so this here, what's that got to do with in the future nobody is going to buy anything made of paper because they can get it for free? Do you agree or disagree with that? If e-books were costless, unemployment rate would increase dramatically. Why? Furthermore, the elderly are not able to search for information flexibly by bringing their cell phones. Who says so? So the elderly can't use the internet? Really? I can think of some old people who might disagree with that. They will firmly put, right, so, right, this doesn't work at all. It doesn't work. Yeah, that's nothing to do with it, nothing to do with it. It's very messy. We don't really know what you're talking about here. It says you partially agree when you talk about, technology and jobs and okay, but again, does that mean people are going to pay? They're not going to pay when you're talking about social media companies? What's that got to do with individuals buying newspapers or books? So, doesn't work at all. Now, I don't have a sample for this. I thought I did, but I don't. So we'll just have to take a look at it. Right. I keep mentioning this. I'll show you again. IELTS phrases to avoid. Copyright. I'll put a disclaimer. Debatable, controversial. Other people say it. Don't include it. Phrases to avoid. Memorized. If you heard my podcast about the dangers of memorized answers in speaking, it's the same. Memorized. If you do it in your essay, a similar fate will befall you. Right? There's a few different sites here that explain this. Inappropriate memorized language. This is from IDP. Inappropriate, like, does it actually give us some examples here about appropriate language. Controversial topic, don't use memorized phrases, pros and cons, reason why. Highly, right, so IDP says don't do it because you'll get a lower score. Don't do it. Okay. Because students maintain elevation for main majors, better to pay all their attention for one qualification. Support the latter viewpoint, as I believe it provides more compelling arguments. Well, that's not much of an outline sentence, is it? Yeah? It doesn't really tell us much. I mean, this one, when faced, I partially agree, but you don't say why. So that's not much of an outline sentence either. Let's make a master of knowledge at the same time with more advantages to future careers. Okay. What does that mean? Such as? Serious. You mean competitive? The choice of company. Favour of paying all the attention to one qualification for two. So, what majors, what subjects, what knowledge, what careers, what particular career is it going to be advantageous to know about different things. I thought I had a sample. I've got something pretty similar, but I don't think I'll show it because it's not quite the thing. I don't want to go into copyright capers, but what was that major again? I did major. I found one. Can I find it now? Okay, well, this is just that. Okay, subjects of the road. Right, that's not very good. 6.5, 5.5, 6.5. Yeah, these on. Right. A 7. Okay. Right. Okay. So, right. Okay. Now this one. Right. So, okay. Want to learn about other subjects, broaden their knowledge, and overall enhances their critical thinking skills. Right. So, specifics. Right. This will make them well-rounded, prepare them for better opportunities. Multidisciplinary fields, more career options. Right. Science major, corporate sectors. Certificate in management or accounting. Right, so this isn't bad, actually. This isn't bad. Yeah. Particular subjects, specialist role, surgeon, chemist, engineer, skill orientated, specific goal, be best in the field. Right, so this isn't bad. It's not bad, but you can see though, yeah, it's got some specifics. Yeah, while it's got that crap phrase to avoid there, but still, this paragraph is not bad because it gives us something. What subject, what major, what career, what company, corporate sector, management, accounting. Okay, yeah. So, you see, that tells us basically nothing. It's too vague. What specifically are you talking about? What knowledge, what subjects, blah, 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 blah. All right? Students are owned of major at the same time. Of course, people like my friend who studies more than one subject, always sacrifices her free time, extra time. Third person S sacrifices her free time, leisure time, suffering from depression. But is she depressed because of that? Quite difficult to keep fit and healthy, under serious pressure, specific reasons we take extra time and she take part in intern, which could enrich our practical experience. Internship where? Practical experience of what? Domestic companies, what? Right, you can see why this doesn't get a very high score. Right, anyway, so you can maybe see there. Now I'll quickly, because I'm going to get it sorted out. I've got lessons starting soon. Right, I'm going to show you this. Criteria time, right? So you see, it's not just what I think. Specifically, what our criteria says. Okie doke. Okay. Get me pen. So, right. So, 9. We're talking about task response here, right? We're not looking at that. So, clear, fully developed position directly answers the questions. Relevant, fully extended, well supported. So, explained and specific examples. right? Well extended, okay. We're coming down now. Overly general, we're coming down. Can you see? Right, lack of precision, lack of focus, we're coming down. We're coming down, can you see? Yeah? So, it's too vague. What are you talking about? What company? What major? What subject? Be specific. If you're not specific, your task response is going to be coming down, 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 down. Yeah? Kind of like in that essay we just had a look at, talking about, was it? The social media companies and technology. Yeah? So, your ideas must be well supported with reasons and examples, right? That's what the criteria says. If you don't, even this aside, not looking at that, just looking at task response, you're going to be getting 6, maybe 5. So, I'll leave it for there because I've got to go. Hope that gives you some ideas, okay? So, it's a bit of a long one for today, but I hope that helps, okay? So, I hope that gives you some ideas about why you might get stuck on a band 6. Grammar, vocab, memorized phrases, etc. All these things can have an impact on your score. So, anyway, that's just one particular student. So, if you want to send me some of your writings, if you're watching this on YouTube, all my links below. You can contact me on italki if you want personal tuition. You can write to me if you're watching on YouTube, put some comments, or check out my podcast, The English Native, etc. Anyway, hope that gives you some ideas, and I'll see you next time.